Okay, so good morning. Thank you for joining us on this morning's webinar, Simplifying Setting Out for Contractors. I'm just going to quickly, I think we should start. We've got enough people in the room now. So going to quickly run through the agenda with you. In a moment, we'll do introductions. We actually have a special guest joining us today from Trimble, so I'll introduce young Chris in just a moment. And just quickly to explain why we're here today, talking about all things Trimble FieldLink, the challenges that we see out there in the marketplace. We'll also be covering the applications for setting out typical workflows that we're seeing at the moment. For those of you that have never sort of seen or have heard of the RTS instruments, we'll give you a quick introduction to them. FieldLink overview and questions. We'll do a quick fire round towards the end. So quickly introduce myself. My name is Barry Monk. I'm one of the regional sales guys for the Southeast for the KOREC group. And I said a special guest. So I'm going to hand over to Chris Quirk from Trimble now.
Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us this morning. So my name is Chris Quirk. I am sales manager for Trimble Field Technology Group. So just to give you a bit of background, Field Technology Group is a relatively new division that's been created within Trimble. So this actually sits within our buildings segment rather than geospatial. So the solutions you're going to see here today, we've partnered up with KOREC. And although they've been a partner with us on our geospatial side for some time, they're actually going to start helping us to push and get this new equipment and this new solution available out into the market. So we'll start talking about why we're here today. So some of the challenges we come across, the industry that we're currently working in. As we all know, construction is a very hard industry to be in. Some of the figures here will show that. You know, construction constitutes 13% of global GDP, but productivity growth remains dramatically low. We're all very familiar. Some of these figures quite scary and relatively high, but a large number of projects are still exceeding budget, still running over time, which again is going to be a cost implication for people, and a number of them have quality deficiencies. Companies making very small margins, so construction is very high risk for some of these companies. Each project that they take on, very high risk with a very small profit that they're going to make. And one of the major problems, especially in this country and around Europe, is a large shortage of skilled labour. We're seeing this now with universities and schools really trying to push engineering, but the construction industry is facing a large shortage going into the next 10 years until we can try and bring that back up to speed. And investment within technology, within companies, is still very low. It's a very high cost. It's a lot to outlay. And if your margins and profits are low, again, it's a huge risk for somebody to outlay that large amount of money without knowing what the end results are going to be. But we are seeing a big shift in construction. There is digital transformation has begun since 2016 with the BIM legislation coming into play. We're seeing more and more people are trying to look at ways of reducing their risk. We've seen a huge increase in non-invasive and wearable technology such as the HoloLens with applications like Trimble Connect. People using drones more. Starting to take tablets and mobile devices out into the site to be able to capture that type of thing. And the return of investment, if you get it right, with this stuff is huge. We're seeing people reducing errors and clashes with mixed reality. And some of these numbers here, you know, with prefabrication, it's becoming more and more popular, allowing people to test before they get to site, reducing their cost and reducing their risk.
I just noticed there, Chris, if I can ask, you're seeing, I can see that 80% reduction in rework. I mean, that's quite high. Where are you seeing that at the moment?
Yeah, so this typical application, FieldLink, is being used already in the UK quite a lot by M&E contractors. A number of the large M&E contractors, drywall companies are using this, and it's allowing them to move away from the traditional method of setting out using tape measures and things. And it's making them a lot more accurate. They're being a lot more productive, but it's really reducing the amount of rework they're having to do, because they're finding clashes quicker and before they actually start to do that install. So it's hugely reducing that amount of rework they have to do.
And saving money at the same time.
Absolutely, yeah. So increasing efficiency, but also in improving their profit as well, which is at the end of the day is key and what everybody's looking for. The Trimble Constructible process is the message that we're getting out. It's part of Trimble Building's message. We've been seeing this a lot this year. So Trimble have a number of solutions available for software and hardware. And what we like to believe is we can provide a solution through the whole life cycle of a building. And the 3 C's are key to us. So being connected, working on the same platform, something like Trimble Connect, which is our cloud-based platform where we can share multiple formats of CAD, whether it be Tekla, SketchUp, Revit, AutoCAD, being able to share point clouds, other data information, and everybody working on this one platform. Content enabled, so this is where we're using some of our software that has manufacturer content, working to a high level of detail in Tekla, in things like Siskiyou for M&E contractors, and actually using a model that you can construct. So taking that constructible model that's high level of detail, data rich, taking that out onto site and being able to use that to actually and build it using things like Field Link, laser scanners, and making sure that that's accurate and that's done. And again, feeding this information by being connected back into the office and constantly checking it. And this is the typical workflow that we're trying to work towards. And I'm sure many construction companies, this is the type of thing they'd like to be doing. Having this BIM model that people are spending a lot of time and a lot of money on, pushing this out, prefabrication, doing off-site, a lot of the work off-site, saving time, saving money, being more efficient, using things like robotic total stations, Trimble Field Link, going out onto site, and then QA, checking the information, having as-built information, using laser scanners, and having all this information again on this one platform in Trimble Connect. So all these different stages of construction all feeding into Trimble Connect. So one platform that everyone has access to, being able to share this information. So why is setting out technology relevant? So for a number of reasons, really. The obvious ones are it's going to make you more accurate. It's going to be a lot more accurate than doing it manual way, and to increase your productivity as well. So, and it's making sure that what's designed is built. It's going to reduce that risk of being able to do that. So all this information that you do, there's a huge disconnect in the industry at the moment. Quite often what happens is something will be designed in the office. When this gets to site, none of that information is actually relayed back. So using this technology, using these platforms, we're being able to report this back onto a project, which is going to help in future, going forwards for future projects as well, being able to estimate them, scheduling, that type of thing. So some of the challenges that we have in the industry will all be very, a lot of people will be familiar with a lot of these. And again, they're quite obvious, but being able to finish these jobs on time and on budget. We saw the figures earlier. It's still a huge problem, and reducing the mistakes as we go along. So we're seeing now more that out in the field, people want to see 3D content. They want to see this data-rich platforms that they have and these data-rich models out on site that people can use as reference, moving away from 2D drawings, paperwork, whether these drawings are up to date. So handling all of this information out on site, and we want to give everybody visibility of what's being produced out in the office, and then giving the same visibility back to the guys in the office of what's going out on site as well. And then the big one, the most important one that everybody's wanting to do is they want to increase their profit. So, again, just reducing that risk. So what are the current setting out methods that we have? So there's a couple of methods that we currently have.
Wow, I haven't seen that much over in a while. Tape.
Yeah, you don't see tape measures too much, but they are still out there. People are still working to them. So we've got the old-fashioned manual method, so using tape measures, laser measurers, plumb bobs, chalk lines, that type of thing. And there's a huge risk of human error that can go wrong with this. So people working from 2D drawings, even people that are using a 2D drawing and a manual total station, having to calculate between points. You know, I've been on site where we've gone out there and we've seen it's just human error. There's a risk that's always going to be there. And these work fine on some projects, but when you come to a complex project, a large structure, this isn't really going to be an ideal way of being able to work.
So an educational step as well, taking some of these guys away from the two tapes, Chris,
yeah,
isn't so much of a big step either, is it? Because
no, it's not.
The FieldLink software in itself is really intuitive.
Yeah, and that's right, and that's what we found is working with M&E companies and drywall companies still very much using manual methods for their setting out. And although it was an educational process when we first took the application to these companies, they have been able to move over quite quickly. People sometimes get worried about technology and think it's going to be hard to learn, but actually FieldLink in itself is very, very simple. It's got a very short learning curve, and although it's very effective, it's a very simple and intuitive piece of software to use. And this brings us on to the digital method. So this is where we want to be. We want to be setting out using robotic total stations, using this digital data in the field. And the obvious benefits of this is you're going to reduce that error, and you're going to be a lot more efficient. So less guys setting out, a lot quicker. That's obviously going to save you money along the way as well. And by reducing the errors, reducing the rework, there's a huge cost saving there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can check this information as well. So everything that you do out on site through a digital method is going to be recorded, and you can share this information back. So some of the applications that we're using setting out technology for, again, quite obvious really, but footings foundation. So in concrete, everybody will be familiar with these here, you know. So we've got lots of different people, lots of different companies that can be whether it's going to be concrete or steel, and it doesn't really matter what sort of structure you're working on. You know, you can apply this technology from anything. So we've seen it used on high level, you know, £1 billion data centers, and then we've got some companies, we've got some small contractors that are using it on residential stuff as well. And again, it's still the same application. It can be applied across the board depending on what you're doing. So again, moving into steel here, we've got a large number of Tekla customers, Tekla being a Trimble product, that are able to use this again. So they can actually use this in the prefabrication stage, so being able to use it and check it in the shop before it goes out, and then using it for the steel erection side of things as well. So being able to check plates and things like that. And then another one is being able to any services that are going into the ground.
Typical tasks out on site, really.
Absolutely, yeah. So it can be complex or it can be very simple, typical tasks. So this is the typical setting out workflow that we're going to be working towards. So using this, we've got our total stations, so RPT, which is a lower end total station, which we'll talk about a bit more in a short while. And then we've got the robotic total station as well. So what we want to be doing is you can start in the office, you can see down the bottom here. So creating your data, and what we want to be doing is we want to be pushing that out onto site from the CAD model out onto the tablet, using the tablet to in conjunction with the total station for your setting out. This information is then fed back to the office, and this is all done through Trimble Connect. It doesn't have to be done through Trimble Connect. Obviously it works well because it's our own cloud platform, but you can actually share this information via email, Google Drive, whichever platform you're already working on. So, and this is going to make it a lot quicker, and it's a lot easier to share this information. So again, just breaking that down again. So you can work from a CAD model or PDF drawings, 2D drawings, and you can prepare this data then. So we've got an application called Trimble FieldLink Office. So you don't actually need to have a CAD platform. So if you don't have access to that.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I mean, for some of our customers just coming into the entry level setting out, actually they don't have that back office. They don't have a CAD system.
Yeah.
And they relied initially on just their client sending them a CSV or a DXF, loading that directly into the controller there, and out you go, setting out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've actually got some customers that do that. We've got some smaller contractors who don't have a CAD department. They don't have a CAD technician within their company, and they have a version of this software on their laptop, and they have somebody there that can create the data, analyze it, dissect it, and prepare it ready to go out onto site. a lot of these drawings now, you actually can cut out that phase and you can drop it straight onto the tablet.
Yeah.
And you can go out there and you can do that. And we'll talk about that in a bit more, because the software allows you, it's quite flexible and allows you to do a lot actually when you're out on site. So just to finish this off, the sample workflow, you've got your CAD model, you prepare your data, you push it onto the tablet, you do your setting out, you record all this as-built information, and then you push this back into your model. So you've got this full cycle and you've got this up-to-date information, and that's what's key. So the model you're working from, this can be daily, every couple of days or once a week. All the information, everything that's done out on site, everything that's set out is recorded and pushed back into the CAD model. So you're going to be working from an accurate as-built model. So we have a couple of ways. The other way of creating this data and preparing it ready to go out onto site, we actually have a plugin called Field Points. So this is a plugin that's available for both Revit and AutoCAD. And again, it's a very simple piece of software, but very effective. So when we tell people they need to create data to set out, they can get a little bit concerned. Because you have to create a point. So a point is your XYZ coordinate of what you're setting out. It's a very automated process using this. So by using this piece of software, you can embed points and markers within families and within groups. So it's very automated, very simple way of exporting it, and then you just export that model out onto the tablet as well. And this also works for Tekla. So some people still may not know that Tekla is a Trimble piece of software.
Part of the Trimble family, isn't it?
Yeah,
Tekla?
yeah. So this is part of Trimble Structures, part of Trimble Buildings. Most people know it for steel and concrete. And you can use this workflow, again, really simple workflow, being able to create your points for your setting out and doing this within the Tekla software. So there's a point creation tool in there. And again, very simple way to export it and get it out onto the tablet and share this information and bring it back in again afterwards. So we'll have a little look about the total station overview. I know this is the bit you've been...
That's my favourite slide, Chris.
Yeah, the bit you've been excited about. Yep. So these are the instruments that we have available, and I will go into these in a little bit more depth on the next slide.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have the range of RTS instruments there.
Yeah.
Standard Trimble technologies in every single one of them. What's so special and important about the RTS range?
So you're still going to be working to the same level of accuracy as you would using the surveying solution. So they have the same things like mag drive and sure point technology. They also work with active prisms. So you've still got that reassurance that you're going to get that high level of accuracy. So we've got 3-second machines, we've got 1-second machines. So very similar to what you're working with. And the beauty of this as well is this one platform, FieldLink, works with all of these different instruments which have different features, and also available with the R8S. So if you've got somebody working outside for GPS, it works well with that as well.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, we've got a good palette here. We've got a couple of tablets available. We've got the larger 10-inch Kenai tablet, and we recently introduced the Panasonic tablet, which is great, really lightweight, really fast, great processor, works really well with heavy 3D models. And on the data prep side, which we spoke about, we've got the 2 software platforms. This can be done FieldLink Office or Trimble Field Points. So the total stations we have available, we start with the RPT 600. So this is a relatively new product. This is our low-end introduction total station. It's only got a short range of about 50 meters, but we're seeing that smaller contractors are using this for sort of residential projects. So maybe sprinkler companies, M&E companies, drywall, that type of thing. And it can be really effective. It's quite a powerful tool when used with the FieldLink software. And then we've got another range of total stations, so the RTS, robotic total station range, and these range from a 3-second machine to a 1-second machine if anybody requires that higher level of accuracy, with some different features. So the main differences being some have cameras in, some don't. We've got the 573, which has got a longer DR range, which is great if you're working on a large site.
Yeah, I saw that 1,300.
Yeah, and all these obviously differ in price depending on your requirements. And then we've got the 873, which actually has a green laser in there, which is great, and we're seeing that's our most popular instrument for sort of internal setting out. So the instrument setup and control, so it works the same way as you would using a surveying instrument. So you do a resection, you set up using existing control points that are out on site, and then you control it all through the tablet. So we use the same technology with a prism. And then we've got a laser pointer for setting out. So you can actually use this DR mode, the laser, which will actually point to surfaces, slabs for things that you want to set out as well. So it's not just taking measurements, it's actually using the laser to set out. We also have Trimble Vision. So some of the instruments have cameras built in, which add some really nice features. And then we've got some other tools as well. So these are being vertical verification tool, and then we've got a surface application. So the software itself, Trimble Field Link, so it's been named as such. The idea is it's a link between the office and the site. And there's a lot you can do in here. So obviously you're going to be doing your import, your data import, and you can prepare your information in here. You've got data management, visualization. This is where you do your setup. Most importantly, where you're going to do your setting out, but you record information as well. So it's not just one way. You're using this for QA, QC, and recording your as-built information. And then we've got some other nice add-on applications, some nice tools, which I'll talk about in a moment. And finally, you're recording and reporting. So everything that you do with this instrument, from the moment you turn it on to you turn it off, is going to be recorded, and that's what's key. And all this information is easily accessible either through Trimble Connect or other cloud platforms for the guys that are in the site, in the office, to be able to see exactly what's going out on site. So we've recently released a new version of FieldLink. So some people may have used this before. Previously, we had the really old version, which is version 3, which I think you may have dabbled with some time ago.
To play around with.
Yeah, and then we were up to version 4.6. We've recently released version 5, and this has really come a long way, and this has been key. A couple of things that are key here is we've changed the modeling engine within here. So we've actually moved to our Tekla modeling engine. So this works really well with heavy models and renders these models really well. So these are full IFC models that we're putting in here, and it works really nicely with the Panasonic tablet.
I noticed that with quite a large, complex data set in the Panasonic, there's no lag.
That's right, yeah. And with this version 5, where we've used it previously, we might have only been able to get one layer of a building in. And now with some of these models, specifically an IFC model, you're finding that you can actually get a whole model in here. Some of these are up to 500 meg, and they run really nicely. So it's a really powerful piece of software. And with this as well, we've got true BIM data. So what that means is that any BIM data, these rich models that you've got, these IFC models, this BIM data, when you bring this across and into the software, all that data rich information comes across as well. So if you were to select an object, it's going to tell you what that object is, providing that information was there in the original model, which is great. We've also got some different views as well, so you can do a section box, and you can change the transparency. But these are small features that we've added, but they make it a lot nicer when you're using it. So you can work in 2D and 3D. You don't have to work in a 3D environment. But this works really well if you want to. So you can obviously orbit and pan around here. You can change it from solid model to a wireframe. And all these layers that you have either in your CAD or your Revit model or your groups, these come across into the model onto the tablet as well. So you can turn these on and off. So for example, if you wanted to turn off all your mechanical and electrical and just look at your structural stuff, you can. So you can decide what it is that you want to see on here. So it just makes it a lot more user-friendly to give you that flexibility of what you're working with out on there. You've also got a lot of flexibility of what you can do with this data and this model when you're out on site. So if you're only creating small points, you don't need to do that prep side in the office. You can push your model straight into the tablet, and you can do your points like you would in any CAD platform. You can do midpoints, ends, being able to snap onto objects. You can do offsets as well, and lines, and these points are very, very easily created. Once you've created these points as well, they're going to carry over into your BIM model. So when you carry these back, all this information is going to be there. And you can have a setting, so when you import these models, you can have it so it'll flag to your CAD guy any new points you've created or anything that's been set out of tolerance. It's going to flag it to your CAD guy, so it's going to make it obvious to him as well. So you can use this for artwork, line work again. So we've got some of the really basic features that people like to use as well. So you can still do it down and out if that's what you want to do. So yeah, just a lot of flexibility. You can just select a line if you want to set it out. So again, you don't have to go through that other side of creating all this data, but all this information that you create on site is going to be available to bring back into the model. So there's a couple of ways of setting out using this instrument, which I spoke about. One is the traditional way of using a prism. The other way is using the the DR, the direct reflex, which is the laser which is projected onto a surface. So you can set out a number of ways. You can just set out by point, simply selecting a point, or you can create lists. And you can set the instrument to then set out to the nearest point, or it can go alphabetically down a list as well.
Which is quite handy.
Yeah, which is really nice. So it just gives you, again, that flexibility of what it is you want to set out, and you can create this yourself. We also have something which is patented technology, which is our visual layout feature, and this is why this solution is key and really popular for internal setting out. So the technology that we have, first of all, we've got a green laser. It's a more focused laser, so it gives a smaller point for setting out, giving better accuracy. Also, as well as as you start to work at angles, red lasers tend to splash and stretch, whereas the green laser stays more focused. It's also a lot easier to see if you're working in direct sunlight. But what we do is, working from a datum line or a reference point, it allows and corrects for deviations in pores. So whereas other solutions out there may tell you that you are out in a certain direction, what this one's going to do is it's going to tell you that, but it's going to correct for you as well.
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
yeah, it's going to make people a lot faster, and it saves you having to worry about that. So that's kind of key.
Here comes vision.
Yeah, and then we've got Trimble Vision. So Trimble Vision is the camera which we have in a number of the instruments. It makes a completely robotic operation. You don't need to be stood anywhere near the instrument itself, and you've also got job data overlay. So these points that you have are overlaid in a real-world environment. So if you were to point the instrument in a certain direction, you can actually see these points and where they should be. So this is great for doing a very quick verification tool, and we've seen this by some of our customers that are able to do this. So it's great. It also allows for tap to turn. If there's something there that you can see in the real world that you want to measure or collect, you simply press on that, and that's where the laser is going to move to. So it's just a bit nice and have to use a joystick and pan around. You can also capture these images as well. So if you want to do a report and record something, you can capture exactly what the instrument can see, and you can send this back to your CAD team as well. So they're going to be able to know exactly what you're talking about, of any issues that arise out on site. QA and QC, record and as-built. There's a couple of ways of doing this. Again, simply using the laser. By pointing the laser at something, collecting it, you can give it a description. It's going to collect the XYZ coordinate of that, and you can send this back. And the other way is by using the traditional method of the prism as well. But yeah, so it's not just one way. It's been able to record as built and verify things out on site as well. And then we've got a number of reporting features. So we've got our deviation report. So this is all the points that you set out. It's going to tell you what the deviation of these points are. These are the points that are going to be pushed back into your CAD model. We've got a daily layout summary. This is the one that the guys on site don't particularly like. So this is going to tell you exactly what you do from the moment you turn the instrument on in the morning until you finish at the end of the day. And it's going to tell you things like who the user was, what the project was. It's going to tell you how accurate your setup was, so you can check that and make sure that your team are using it correctly. It's going to tell you how many points they're setting out per hour, which points they've done. And this is great because you can start to dissect this information and use it later on for when you want to price jobs.
Yeah.
So you can see who's your most effective work team, that type of thing. We have a field report. So this is something that you want to record out on site. So you record an XYZ coordinate, you can give it a description, you take a picture, it's going to produce a PDF report, push it back up to the cloud, and again, send it on to your team.
I think one of the things a lot of our guys that we're working with, I've seen quite a bit now, love this side of the field reporting. But also it's that flexibility. If they're actually communicating with an external party,
yeah,
obviously they can't bring that party into the world of Trimble Connect, but just with the Panasonic on board, connecting it wirelessly to your mobile phone, opening up your email and sending that report over to an external party right there and then, and you haven't left site.
Yeah,
it's huge. Huge.
Absolutely. And these files that you're sending back, they're really small files. They're not heavy. So you can easily do this through your phone and email it. When we're sending deviation reports back, effectively it's a CSV file. You're not sending any models. You're not transferring gigabytes of data. It's very, very small. So it's very easily sent. And we also have a surface report as well. So this is being able to record the pore and flatness. This works on a vertical and horizontal basis, and effectively what you do is you select an area of a floor. You tell the instrument how many measurements, what intervals, how many points you want it to do. You set a benchmark or a datum line, and then it's going to produce this heat map for you. That's going to tell you what's in and out of tolerance. So it's really nice. We've got a few people that use this and really, really like it. And it's going to produce a PDF report as well, again, which you can send back. And this is great for people that have got to do these floor flatness reports.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another one we have is a vertical verification tool. So this is, you can set the instrument up here. Once you've set a direction, you don't have to do a resection. You don't need to be within a control system. So this is just a nice feature, being able to check whether a vertical wall is plumb or not. So again, just going to give you this level of accuracy and live feedback of whether this wall would be level. So I think I've kind of covered everything that we would talk about there.
So I guess what we'll do now, I mean, if for a lot of the information that we've shown here on today's webinar, please get in touch with us. We'll have some communication points in a moment that you can contact us on. If there's any questions that come up from today that you're thinking on, forward on from today, then please get in touch with us and we'll be more than happy to help. We have got a few questions, Chris. Okay, so let's have a look at some of these. Somebody has asked if they can test the solution for a short period. I think that's more of an answer for me, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, as Chris said right at the beginning, you know, we've partnered up now with Trimble, and here at KOREC we can support the RTS range fully with the Trimble Field Link, and we have these instruments on our hire fleet, and we can also come and discuss this with you if you want to invest. Obviously, if an investment isn't right for you at the moment, then, I mean, you don't want to make that capital expenditure, then, you know, it's something we can look at. Maybe we can make that capital, we'll go and buy it for them and actually hire it out on a long-term hire, whatever suits the business, really, and gives you zero risk. I think it's a bit of a cheeky question coming here, actually. What's the future for Field Link, and what can we see Trimble bringing in the future, Chris?
Okay, so obviously we don't really disclose everything that we have, but what I will say is over the last 3 years while I've been working in this area, Field Link has come on leaps and bounds. We've been doing this for a number of years now, and we work closely with our customer base. We have a number of feature requests from our customers, and we submit these to development on a quarterly basis. And to date, a lot of these features have been added. So we're keen to get the feedback from our customers. We want to make sure that it meets their requirements, and we'll continue to do that. So, you know, we probably update the software. There's probably 3 to 4 updates per year, and we're happy to listen to any feedback that any of our customers have got.
Brilliant, superb. So stay connected with us. For anybody interested in any of the solutions from any of the Trimble divisions, please visit us on the link below. Subscribe to all the latest news, and every time young Chris here brings out an upgrade or something new and spectacular to Trimble Field Link, hear it from us. We'll get in touch with you and tell you about it. But also you can contact us, as I mentioned, on the usual social media platforms. If there's any questions, as I said, going on from today, please get in touch, and we've always got somebody quite local to you. I'd like to say a quick thank you to Chris.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this webinar, and hopefully we'll do many more together.
Hopefully, yes. Thanks very much.
Thank you for attending.